Yeah, if I
Wow.
can step in just for a few, yeah. I'd asked Faith to allow me to exit like 5 minutes prior, but I've been able to move a few things around, so I'm still
Okay.
here for
Thank you.
for the
Thank you.
source. And let me see if I can organize my thoughts properly the right way. I feel like rather right now what we're talking about, why people should pick real queens over slay queens, and this whole, if you call it, this whole situation we have, it's not just here, this whole global situation. I feel we should just go straight to the core of it, which
Yeah.
is, like, how on earth do you even end up with these slay queens? And really it comes to, just understanding, like, for me, the way I see it and the way I kind of interpreted it is, we're living in, and I remember someone was mentioning this, like, we're living in an age of, instant gratification. Like nowadays, if you want to get a friend, just click on, just pull up your phone, get on social media, follow, and that's it. You're considered friends. If you want food, all you have to do is get on your phone, order from KFC or wherever, get it on Uber Eats. It's right at you. Simply just swipe right, swipe right, swipe right. Nowadays, even to the extent of, if you want to have sex, all I need to do is just download Tinder, swipe right. If we match, that's it. Like instant gratification. And sadly, it has passed on to now, like the children and the generation we're living in now. Like we're so used to getting things on the instance that if someone doesn't get what they want almost immediately, they become, they get, they get sad, they get depressed to the extent you get. And this has affected us in the sense that people don't really understand that life is a whole process. And one thing I read was, life is not, much as we have all these problems and these, there are highs and lows throughout life. Life is not a messed up enough place to reward undeserving people. You get, in life, you get what you have to work for. And one of the things I remember, this one time I was building my first business, it was like 2 years ago, and I was in a rut. You get like in a whole rut, like things weren't working out, you're broke, you to the point where I think I moved back home. I moved back home for a good period of like 6 months. And one of the things I thank God for is, again, Pastor, like you said, my mom is a staunch Christian and she's one of those grounded women, just solid. And one of the things she told me was, like, she went back to the story of David. I mean, this is a guy who was guaranteed you're going to be a king. God himself has anointed you. But from the time from the time David was anointed king by was it the prophet? Sorry, what's his name? What was his name? Solomon. Solomon. Oh, yeah. From the time he was anointed, he had the oil poured over him, to the time he actually stepped onto the throne, it was a whole series of trials, tribulations, hard times. He spent time in the desert as a rebel, and people have kind of lost identity of that. They've kind of lost touch to that. So now we have kids. I mean, for crying out loud, we have in kindergarten children getting awards for just participating. Before it's either number 1, 2, or 3. Nowadays, even number 10 gets an award. So what does that teach our kids? Like, oh, you can just get it just because you want to. We are teaching our kids that, I mean, sad to say this, but this might sound a little extreme, that, you're just telling our kids that, you know what, you can be anyone you want to in life. But yeah, you can. There's a possibility of that happening, but you're going to have to put in the work to get there. So we're raising this whole identity of children, when they get to campus, they have all these grandiose dreams of, like, I'm going to change the world, I'm going to impact the world. Get their first job, you realize you're going to have to start at the bottom of the rung, at the bottom of the ladder. And so it takes you, like, how long does it take to get like a whole promotion nowadays? It's like even 5, 6, 10 years. There are people who've been working the same job for like 20 years and there's still no progress. So like you find after someone's first year, now they're all depressed. They're not seeing any progress. They're not seeing any progress in their life. Now they get depressed. They give up. like that. And then you jump on social media, on Instagram, your best friend who you graduated campus with is in Watamu, is hanging out, I don't know, doing this and doing that. When you know, without realizing that's just a highlight of their life. You get, that's not the whole story of, you know, what's going on behind the scenes. You get, it's, everyone is just projecting this fake reality to the point where nowadays they say reality is all about perception, because I will not show you what I'm going through. No one knows that I was at my parents' house for like 6 months. But you know what? They'll see me. I'll definitely post that flight I was taking to South Africa just recently. But no one will see those 6 months I was depressed, down and out, wondering about that. You get. So nowadays it's not about, I won't show you how my reality is. I won't show you how I really am. I'll show you what I want you to think that I am. And in return, you will see this whole projection of fake reality. And in response, you will put up a whole fake facade, a whole mask to try and rival me. Because again, we're social creatures. We want to feel like we're, you know, we're part of the tribe. We're keeping up with everyone else. You get. And then in return now, so with that, it came now this unnecessary pressure to look like you've made it in life, like you're living your best life. When in reality, that's not what it is. So now people have turned to shortcuts. So what do people do? Okay, if I look nice, I'll be able to attract that rich guy on Instagram who's sliding my DM, and maybe he will pay for my flight to Watamu. If I dress like this, if I go out to the clubs where all the rich guys are, then I'll be able to live this lifestyle I'm projecting on Instagram. When in reality,
I feel like you're already answering a question where I was going to ask you, what are some of the things that women or us girls are doing that are making us end up in the category of not being upgraded to real women? And I think you're already answering that fake life, that fake reality,
Yeah, so eventually it's just this whole cycle of, you know, just fake reality, because I'm showing you what I want you to see. I'm not showing you the reality. I'm showing you what I think you think that you want to see. I don't know if that makes sense. You get.
Yeah.
And then in return, you're also not showing me what the reality is. You're showing me what I think you think. I'm showing you what I think you want to see, what I think you want to see. And in return, you're doing the same thing. So now it's just this whole cloud psychology of, you know, everyone is just living a fake life. And eventually the pressure gets onto people and everyone starts doing that to the point now it's become like accepted in society that, you know, this is the reality. You know, we have slay queens and everything. And the problem now comes in now for the men. Here's where it comes in. As a boy, you know, like as a boy, when you're still young, I mean, you know, you're still developing, you don't really understand. Just like the Bible says, there's a verse in the Bible, I think it says, do not ignite the fire of passion before it's time. So as a boy, you're still trying to figure out life. So, you know, these flashy things out here, you know, you're still innocent, naive and everything. So you think, you know what, hey, this chick looks cute. She has a fat ass. She has hips. She's light skinned or whatever. And she's like this. Whoa, okay. This is now like it's just like glitter, you know. So you start chasing the glitter. And in order to get this chick's attention, it means I'm gonna have to show her that I can live a certain life. You get. So now, instead of this boy actually putting themselves in the process of developing and growing yourself, because the guy she's chasing after who has the Range or the Benz or the Beamer, it's not that it automatically landed on him. You get. These are guys who've, you know, they've committed years into their craft. They've made sacrifices. They've gone through ups and downs to get to where they're at. That's why they are that old. That's why they are someone's father. You get. But this guy who's just out of campus or still in campus still doesn't understand this process between here and getting to the Range Rover. So obviously he's going to try and shortcut it. So either he's going to go out, you know, the shortcutted way, go into drugs, sell drugs or whatever, just to please this chick who he doesn't also understand that that's not the wife material that you're looking for. That's not your rib. That's not the rib material you're looking for, because eventually now, once he does that, He goes through that whole process because that's what seems cool. That's what guys his age are doing. Eventually now when he gets to the end of the line, he's like 28, 29. These years that he was actually in reality supposed to be investing in himself, growing himself, figuring out his finances, figuring out, you know, what he wants out of life, his vision, gaining clarity. He has wasted them chasing this idea or this image of the perfect woman or the perfect life without necessarily going through the whole process. So you find guys 28, 29, they still don't know who they are. They still don't know what they want to do. They still haven't figured it out. They still don't know where it is they want to go, where it is they want to go in life. They're broke, desperate, and everything. And that's why we end up with this whole situation where we're at. Because nowadays, there's this book by this guy, his name is Stefan Arnew. He said, tough times create strong men create good times create weak men. Because you look at this, like over the last 10, 20 years, you know, it's just been nothing but abundance. You know, you can do whatever you want. You know, all these advances in technology with humanity has made life easier per se. So it's made people soft. So people out here don't really understand there's a whole aspect of hard work and growth and development that goes into creating this thing. And then, you know, because you see this guy on social media, oh, he's taking his wife out on a jet. That's the perfect marriage. But you didn't see them arguing and cussing each other out, throwing pots and pans at each other just the week before. This guy was probably trying to amend his relationship with his wife because maybe she saw texts from some other lady. Now he's putting her on a jet with money he doesn't have because he's still working a job. All this money is either loans or just his salary got paid yesterday. He's still, you know, 20 years from now when he's retiring, he probably will still have no assets to live on. So he'll probably still have to work till he's 70. You get? It's not, it's all, I'd say it's all a fake illusion, you get? And also on the aspect of now ladies, I'm just gonna dump all my points zote tu mara moja and then and then so I can step back. Also on the aspect of ladies, and I'll use a different perspective. I'll approach it from a different angle. I don't know what Pasi will have to say about it, but I'll approach it from a scientific angle, okay? But in terms of the ladies nowadays, we have this whole thing of oh, men are not loyal, men are doing this, men are sleeping everywhere, with everyone and everything. One, you understand why, because this is a guy who doesn't know who he is as a man. He doesn't grasp fully masculinity. He hasn't grasped the dynamics of a relationship. Because fam, I'll probably be the first one to say that relationships take work. It's not going to be roses and daffodils all through. It takes work. And that's why I quoted Gary Chapman last time, and he said, you know, his book, The 5 Love Languages, he says, our most basic emotional need as human beings is to know a love, is not to fall in love, sorry. He says, our most basic emotional need is not to fall in love, but to know a love that grows out of reason and choice and not instinct. You get? Because at some point, you've been married for like, you get married, yeah, you're infatuated with each other. Every day you text each other, you ask each other how things are going. But it's just human nature. At some point, you'll get used to it. Mundane things, you know. Familiarity brings contempt, if you would like to call it that. So a year, 2 years, however long it takes after the marriage, after the wedding, after that single event, like Pastor was saying, you realize, oh, I still have to love this person, but nimeshachoka nimezoeana na yeye. Like I've seen them. Hey, tulikuwa tumezoeana. Usually when we used to hang out, she had makeup on. Now sasa anatembea na night dress, amejifunga sijui stockings kwa kichwa, hana makeup, sijui she's looking some type of way. It's creepy. She doesn't look as hot as she used to. You get, and you realize the whole beauty, it's not permanent. You're gonna have to now when you wake up now, it's no longer, love is no longer now at the instinctive. It's not, doesn't come as an instinct. It now becomes a choice. Meaning every day you're gonna have to put in the effort and decide that, you know what, I'm gonna love this person because this is the person I want to spend the rest of my life with. So you're gonna have to put in the right effort, the right habits, the right steps and procedures to continue flourishing, you get. And that's it. Because now the whole thing, why men sleep around, like, it's very simple. Like, he's not really a man. He's not yet a man. Because a man who actually understands and he's in that mental space that, you know what, he's grown himself and he's made the wise decision, and if he's picked the right woman, he knows. Us men, we know. Like, we automatically know, like, yo, I do not want to mess up this. This is a good thing that I have. I don't want to mess it up. He will, out of his own will, out of his own volition, he will know that this is the right woman. So he will put, I'd say 80% or 70% of the time, he will put in measures to make sure he's never in that situation where temptations arise. Because again, at the end of the day, temptation.
George, I tend to differ with you, because there are situations where we have real men, but now who are genuinely working towards a relationship. They're not boys. But as women, I'm told we tend to direct you men into cheating. For example, nikishinda na t-shirt ya senyenge ni ng'ombe na something on my head from Monday to Monday, and there is this beautiful neighbor who keeps smelling so good every morning you're going to work. Chances are you'll stop looking aside. So I tend to differ a bit there, because I think also hiyo kujisahau, unacha manyama huku anapita huku anapata kasichana kakiuno and they have like maybe 3-4 kids, so they're like, what's happening? Mine has 1 kid and she's looking like this.
Let me address that. Let me address that. Like I said, it's all about, first of all, when you come together in marriage, like Pastor Steve said, 2 people come together and they become one. Yeah. So meaning we're going to be sharing so many things about each other. You get, like, we are literally one. Like, you are the one to spend the rest of. If I kill someone today, the first person, if I'm married and I kill someone today, the first person I would like to tell is my wife. You get, because that's how tight we should be. You get. And in that sense, I feel like, it's also your own individual duties to kind of communicate these things to each other and be like, yo, like, I feel like I don't want this. Yeah, we love each other. I love you. That's why I decided to marry you. But at the same time, I want to keep things fresh and sexy from the very beginning, because you come together, we're going to be together for life. Did Pastor Steve Chomoka? Oh, he's back. Oh, sorry. I thought you were gone. But you come together, you still have to understand that, we want to keep this freshy, like this fresh, sexy vibe for as long as we can, until maybe age catches up with us. So I found, I'll use an illustration. A few couples that I've interacted with, and some who are my friends, and they're much older than me. They're like in their early 40s, yeah? Like, the lady hits the gym, the guy hits the gym, and like, I remember one time I was like, you know what, let me just ask these guys. And I was like, yo, so what's up? Like, you guys are like, I think the lady is like 38 now. The guy is 44, 45, if I'm not mistaken. You're like in your prime years. You no longer have to put in the effort. But she was like, you know what? I'm not doing this just because, but no, it's like, it's become a whole habit of ours. We like to spice things up. I mean, she said this, at the end of the day, we are all we will ever have for however long this entire lifetime we will have. Even the kids will come and they will go. But the only person who will give you pleasure in the carnal sense is this person you've chosen. So it's like feeding the goose. You either feed the goose or the golden egg. Obviously, you want to feed the golden egg so that it continues. You want to feed the goose that lays the golden egg so that it continues laying golden eggs. Yeah. So it's the same way. I mean, I always ask, here's my question. Yeah? I always wondered, like this is a whole other human being, a whole other human form, yeah, that you've decided to spend the rest of your life with. Why can't you take care of it the same way you take care of your car? Or why can't you take care of it the same way you take care of your business? Because you find someone has run a whole business, it's a multi-million-dollar business. He pays attention to he crosses the T's and he dots the I's when it comes to this business. It's like his own baby. you know, that he reared from the ground up. But when it comes to your wife, someone who is your safe haven, they give you, you know, peace of mind, and they're gonna be with you for however long you're gonna be alive. Why don't you take care of them just as much? Or you guys just both come together with your own solid mind and reason and decide, you know what, we're gonna keep doing this. We're gonna try and remain, you know, fresh and exciting for each other, and we continue putting in the effort. Plus, I also feel like if the man puts out the initiative, you know, and he's like, you know what, like every week he's like, guess what? You know, I'm gonna start going to the gym. It starts with the man himself as the leader, I guess. You know, you tell yourself, I'm gonna start going to the gym, and I'm pretty sure if your wife starts noticing, hey, this guy is getting guns out here, he's getting the six-pack abs, his shirt are tight nicely, they're fitting nicely, he's looking fit, and like he's starting to get the attention of most women out here. If it started with you as a guy, then eventually it will just trickle down to your family because you're the leader. But otherwise, if your wife is like, you know, you have your wife, pia wewe mwenyewe unatoka job as the man, kuja, park gari tu hapo hivyo, just sit there, you eat, you watch the news, and you go to bed. What do you expect? You lead by example, you know? So for me personally, I'd say, yeah, for me, one of the things is like fitness is at the top of my priorities. Like every morning I go work out, I try and stay in shape. My goal is to, like, even when my kids are joining campus and I'm that old, like their friends should still think like I'm one of, like I'm like, you know, like I'm their uncle or something. I'm like, or like I'm their older brother. You get? That's how I still want to be able to turn my wife on naked at 50. You get? I just rip my shirt off and she's like, oh damn, I made the right decision. If at all everything else, be damned, but just from this perspective, this view that I have right now in the bedroom, I made the right decision. And so just like I was saying, it all starts from you, from as the man, as the leader, it starts from you to lead now the charge. And it's not that you blame at, oh, this woman, just like Adam was saying, oh, it's the woman you gave me. But you individually, what are you doing? Are you leading your own life so that, you know, if, you know, your wife, you know, she gets my, like, I would say, yeah, there was another illustration would be a good friend of mine. Again, he's much older because when you're in business, you deal with a lot of old people in Kenya. No offense, no offense. If she's going to see this, I did not mean it that way. But just recently, a year ago, he was diagnosed with diabetes type 2, and he was obese. I won't lie. He was the whole belly koivi. You know, like he drives everywhere. He talk nje ya gari na nini na nini. And you know, Faith, you know him. you remember Joe? You remember Joe? Yeah. So just recently, he was told, "Fam, you're gonna have to hit the gym. You're gonna have to really take health and fitness like seriously, because other than this, you're this young. He's pretty young. He's not too old, but he was like, yeah, if you keep this up, tunakuhesabia tu masiku." And he actually started doing that, and over time, you know, he started getting fit. You know, he's regaining that youthful vigor and everything, to the point that, you know, even his wife was like, "Yo, I also need to get back. I also need to get that. You can't be out here looking young on your own. I also need to get back into that vibe." So eventually it came down to his wife. So now both of them, you know, they're taking weight, you know, seriously, and they're actually looking younger, fam. They're starting to look younger, and it's been a blessing for them right now. And I'm pretty sure, you know, in other affairs, they're also enjoying. It's brought back the youthful vigor, if I can say.
Now, before you think about running away, Georgia, I'd really want to hear from Pastor Steve, because damn, you've mentioned a lot of things, and I know he's one sharp guy. I'm sure he's like having points flowing right now. So I'd really want to hear something from Steve before you disappear. Yes. Steve.
Yeah.
I'd really want to hear something from you. Because I know you're one sharp guy. Usha, kuna venye tu zina flow. Eh?
Well, I was just listening in, and I think Eddie has preempted a lot of stuff which are very, very important. Maybe I will just mention a few things, just a few so that I don't repeat what you have said.
Okay.
I think first of all, we have to also come to the understanding that marriage is work. Just like any other thing, business, you have to work on it. Another thing is that when you get into marriage, you also have to be ready. The slender girl that you marry will not be slender forever. The small guy you marry will not be small forever. Time will come, they will be big. They will be, sometimes they were big, they will be small. And that's why I always advise people, don't fall in love with the exteriors, fall in love with the interiors, because exteriors wither off. The hair unaweza kuwa uko na shilingi, zile mashilingi zile tulikuwa tunameanga kwa kioshago tukiwa watoto, zile mashilingi ama ni ringworms, eh?
Yes.
You can fall in love with long hair and the girl gets ringworms, she has to shave. What happens when the hair is gone? So I think it's important to go for just what I said last time, go for the values. From the values, then come to the external. Actually, true beauty extends from the inside going outward. It's not outward going inside. There are so many pretty girls out here, handsome men here, but their characters are rotten. So we don't want to get married to someone who is not a husband material or a wife material. Another thing I will also mention is every man has to understand that you walk in two dimensions. One, you walk in a dimension of a priest, and you're in the dimension of a king. Now, as a priest, you must lead your family in the ways of the Lord. As a king, you must govern your family, cover your family, protect your family, and provide for your family. Very, very important. Another thing that I also noted down was, as Eddie was speaking, just dropped in my mind, that when it comes to marriage, you're talking about slave queens versus real queens. God will never, in his sovereignty and power, God will never give you what is left. God will always give you what is right. What do I mean by that statement? If there are young girls out here, and I'm not attacking any lady, because it takes two to tango. So if there are young men and women out here who are sleeping around and messing themselves up and are in that fallacy of age and euphoria of time, I want you to understand that you are engaging yourself into soul ties and relationships that will cost your destiny. Because I believe with all my heart that God cannot, someone can't preserve himself or herself and then God gives him a leftover. So God will always give you what is right. If you stand for what is right, he will give you what is right. God will never give you what is left. But ukishanuswa nuswa, umelambwa na kila mtu uko nje, then you're coming, you say, I want a Pro 31 woman. It can't happen. And to the young men who are just perforating every girl out there, you just find any girl, perforate them, and then you move on. Believe you me, have a picture of, this is your sister. Somebody else is doing that to your sister. How will you take it that your sister has been used by 5 or 10 men or 20 men, and then a time comes she wants to get married, and you don't even have a testimony of her? That's how I look at it. I mean, there's a season where you look at a lady as a man, and if today something happens to you, Faith, it should be able to hurt me in equal measure, because I now know the value of a woman. I know the worth of a woman. And last time I said that every woman denotes a certain value in the spiritual realm. That is why a man is not complete without a woman. As the Bible says, a man will find, and when he finds this thing, he obtains favor. So unless a man finds this something that is of value, there's some stuff that he cannot be able to enjoy. So with that understanding, every man must be able to respect women to the level that they respect themselves. Because if you can't respect yourself, you can't respect them. And I see what you're seeing today. There's this male chauvinism out here. Men have no respect and regard for women. And I say it here openly, I have zero regards for any man that disrespects women, regardless of who they are, whether you are whoever you are. I don't respect men who have no regard for women, because women, without women, we wouldn't be where we are today. So when I also talk about the slay queens and the real queens, what does a slay queen look for? A slay queen looks for what you drive. A slay queen looks at where you stay. A slay queen looks for temporal things. Unasikianga wanasema nataka boy ako na iPhone, nataka mwenye ako na Subaru, nataka boy mwenye ako na biceps, you know. But a real queen, instead of looking at what you drive, they look at what drives you. What is your purpose in life? What is your vision in life? If you can have a dialogue with a lady, those who are watching and maybe they are single, if you can have a dialogue with a lady who does not ask you more about temporal things, but asks more about your future, then that's someone who you can run with. Because marriage is a long relay race. It doesn't steal 100 meters, you know, and that's why watu wanaingia kwa ndoa, unapata siku mtu anaoa anatusumbua kwa Facebook the first 2 months anapost mbeke sana, alafu after 3 months amechoka hata ampost tena, because unaingia na mambo mingi, yeah, unaingia kwa
the heartbreak na sijui nini.
It ends in premium tears. So you have to also have focus in your mind that this is a lifetime thing, and body will change, these things will change. And one of the things I must insist is, look, real queens look at what drives the man. And for this case, does this man go to church? Is this man born again? Does this man work? Does he fend for himself? Is he an organized man? And ladies, listen to me. Any lady who goes to visit a boyfriend and finds that sufuria iko kwa kitanda, don't marry that one. That's an irresponsible man.
Facts.
Don't get into this mchezo wanasemanga huku nje ati maboys atunanga kupanga vitu. My friend, if you can't panga your own soap, how can you panga your house? Ladies, never marry a man who does not wash sufuria ugali the same night amepika. That's a very lazy man. He will disturb you when you marry him. Don't marry a man who does not know how to tuck in when he's walking on the streets. Ajuk funga fly along. Those are very responsible men. Those are boys. In fact, don't marry them. A slay queen looks at where you're coming from. Anatafuta watu kileleshwa, anatafuta wale watu wa kwa hizi posh estates. But a real queen looks at where do we go next from where we are. And that is why when you marry the right person, in the fullness of time, you begin to realize that your life changes. You move kama kumko ka bed sitter, mnaingia kwa 1 bedroom, from ka 1 bedroom anakuambia sasa jenga kanyumba mahali, buy a plot, anakupa. She always pushes you to advance yourself. But if you find these ones who are looking for these rich men in these posh estates, be wary about them. Another thing, they look at where you live. Slay queens. But a real queen looks at who lives in you. The Bible says that I that liveth, but Christ who lives in me. Believe you me, any man that is genuinely born again is a good leader. Because like Amen. Eddie said, Christianity is not just about watu wa kanisa kwenda kusema I receive. This Bible, this holy book is a manual for life. This is what runs this world. If you want to learn about righteousness, it is here. If you want to learn about business, it is here. If you want to learn everything you need is in the Bible. So if you get a man that is truly born again, you've found a leader in your life. And then another thing is this. My real queens, wale wanaochi progi. Kama umewalikuwa rejected, and I will say this because mimi nimewahi wachwa siku nyingine nikasikia kulia, but nashukuru Mungu niliwachwa na Mungu akanifungulia njia mzuri. Hallelujah. If you have ever been left, it is painful, but I will say this. Not every rejection means that you are worthless. In fact, value sometimes is rejected by people who can't pay for the price of it.
You can say that again.
So every rejection many times is redirection to find your purpose. Sometimes the best way to grow and to understand who you are is by bidding people farewell and moving on. Yeah. That way you learn to stand on your own. You will learn to value yourself. And like I said, every woman in the spiritual realm denotes a certain value. There are women, there's a woman who will come in your life, you didn't know anything about business, but suddenly you become a business guru. There are women who come in your life and you didn't know anything about God, you suddenly become very spiritual. There are women who come in your life and you are just hopeless, you become a motivational speaker, you know. So you must be able to understand that value is sometimes rejected by people who can't pay for the price of it. So those ones who are going through rejections right now, because maybe you're in a marital situation that you're feeling rejected, or you're in a relationship, you're feeling rejected, please understand this. If as long as you know who you are, as long as you believe in yourself, as long as you know what you stand for, don't settle for what is left. Please always settle for what is right. Because at the end of the day, after all is said and done, what will remain to count is, did I get the right person? Because today, like I said earlier on, people are getting into marriage because they want the wedding, but not the marriage. The ceremony is a one-day affair, but marriage is a lifetime thing. So if you get in this thing because you just wanted a big wedding, my friend, na hiyo wedding kwanza watu watakuja kula kwa harusi yako, alafu hata watasema hiyo food iko tamu na umechanga pesa kufanya kwa nini? You know, I did a very good wedding. Watakwambia tunachana tu. Nilifanya wedding poa kwa Maisha Magic, nikaona mtu mwingine mjinga ameandika kwa comment section kwa YouTube when they posted my wedding, akasema tulikuwa tumeweka kala za kanjo kwa wedding yangu. Yeah, and I went to the profile of that lady and I saw she had divorced and she was bitter. Sorry. I hope I'm still here. My photo is going on.
You are.
Yeah. I went to her timeline and I realized this lady had been rejected by baby daddy, the baby daddy drama. So going through her timeline, I realized sometimes people go through stuff and they just rub them on people to make them feel satisfied. And the danger, one thing the Lord began to minister to me about that whole situation was, when people get into marriage with a wrong perception, the outcome is always negative, whether you try to paint it positive or not. You can fool some people sometimes, but you can't fool all people all the time. You can fake that smile for 2-3 days, but on the fourth day, you will shed the tears. And just like Eddie was saying, I will echo that again, that we don't need to live in a generation where we are going after the likes. These likes that people are looking on social media. In fact, the same people like your post will never buy anything if you do business with them.
It's so true.
Yeah. Don't chase that elusive like. Unapata to them wanapiga mapicha hivi. Mnapiga mapicha hivi, mnatuonyesha hivi. You know?
I felt to give later.
Just to get the likes. And I wonder what will you do with the likes, you know? What will you do with the likes? Instead of chasing real things, you know, have value, chase real things. Easy my likes, believe you me, siku Facebook itafungwa, you lose all of them. So there are so many people even today who are in relationships and they're doing what we call PR on social media, but in reality they're crying. Kama ni boy umekaliwa na dem, naja kuja muoa, by the time you marry this girl, my friend, utakuwa umekuwa chapati, hata utakuwa chapati, utakuwa sijui umekuwa unga ama nini. Unajua?
Funny story, by the way. Funny story to cut you off. Funny story. Yeah. I can actually I know mtu mwenye alisukuma na girl child fam. Like they weren't like in a serious, it wasn't even serious. These guys are dating to get married. But fam, if we were to do an audit of how much money this person spent throughout the entire period, and it was less than a year, I think it was like 9 months peke yake. Yeye mwenyewe ni stress tu, pressure ilimpata tu yenyewe hadi bank account ikasema hapana, nimechoka. For 9 months. Go ahead. That's actually why you see also another point to add to that is young men want to please ladies before you marry them. Believe you me, don't invest in someone who hasn't put a ring on your finger. Take it from the
bank. That one should just go to the bank.
Yeah. Never invest in anyone. Madam usiende kupikia boy na haja kuoa, ukichomekea huko medical cover itakukava nini sasa? Nani cover kwa medical cover?
Yeye mwenyewe hana medical cover.
You cook for a man who you know uko kwa medical cover yake, ukichomeka anakulipia, anakuendea, inakulipia usi. You know? Umefinyiwa kwa kabed sita mahali, kitanda imevunjikia huko, mgongo imevunjika. Hauna spinal cord for the life. Who will help you?
Ndio hiyo. Ama gas inalipuka, panya inapita inaangusha sufuria, wewe ulikuwa umeweka miguu hapo hivyo juu ulikuwa kwa kitanda ukaungua. Sasa
so watu wajue hii vitu is a serious thing. And also ladies, let me talk about the real queen. A real queen is a responsible girl. She's a girl who many call them Miss Independence, which is a good thing. It's good to work, it's good to get your life going. Let a man find you somewhere. Kuna mademu wamekaa tu hivyo, yani wamekaa tu, me I will be married by a mzungu. Then they end up starting to disturb people on Tinder and all this flirting up. You know, I watch TLC sometimes and I see those programs where unapata kamsichana kamepana na kabudesko kamuze kamechapa hata yani amechapa mpaka hata you just trying to see, you know, you are struggling to be in this thing, but because you're looking for money, you've been lazy all your life, you may realize it's too late, so you are looking for money by all means. Believe you me, any man that finds a lady who is also lazy will use you and dump you. So you have to be very wise. The Bible says you must be wise as serpents and you must be gentle as doves. So you must look at these two things. Doves are very harmless, but very beautiful. Serpents are very cunning and also very slithery. So you must be wise. The wisdom of a serpent made us suffer the way you are suffering today. It is a serpent that made Eve to eat the fruit, and the fruit to be taken to Adam. Hatukuwa tuko hapa sahi. Tuko huko Eden tunaenjoy maisha. Hii mambo ya serpent, we must be wise. You know? So women, you must understand something, that in life, it takes a stronger force to pull down a strong force. Ideally, what I'm saying is this: women are more stronger than men when it comes to emotions. Women are more stronger than men. And when a strong woman finds a weak man, he can destroy the man. So we must strike a balance here. I will finish by saying this: two sins and two things that are very, very important and difficult to resist. One is pride, and two is sex. When you're talking about slay queens and real queens, pride and sex. Pride appeals to an empty head, and sexual enticement appeals to an empty heart. Pride says, I deserve it, and sexual desire says, I need it. Now, when desire is activated, people never look for it. They want satisfaction. So never allow yourself to be led by satisfaction, but be led by purpose. Because if you're led by satisfaction, the moment you get what you want, if it is sex, you get it as a single girl or a single man. The moment you get that sex, my friend, you've entered into soul ties, you've entered into covenants. Maybe kwa kinao dem ni wachawi, ama ni watu wa night runners, kwenu nyinyi wakora, wezi, mtu ako na spirit ya uchawi na mtu ako na spirit ya wezi wakipatana. Now you are even beyond it.
Money heist kila mahali. Wanaona tu waizi walikuja tu na broom. Pesa zikaenda.
So watu wajewe kwa maombi, watu wapende Mungu, na watu wakuwe na right priorities. I mean, write down your priorities. What you always ask God is what He gives you. You know, I was telling Faith the other day, I asked God for a tall, beautiful wife. I've always loved tall ladies, and that's what I got. Man, God gives you the desire of your heart, regardless of what it is. But if the priorities are wrong, my friend, your life is wrong. So me, I think that's all I had to say for tonight.
Awesome. Wait, let me close it up. Kiasi, I also had a few things to finish up. I'll try and keep it like within 5 minutes.
Okay.
If you allow me.
It's okay.
Yeah, so I think at the core of it all, much as, you know, we're talking about these slay queens and everything, we still have to talk about like the boy child, the one who, you know, because these slave queens, they're only there, you know, to get the attention of, you know, the boy child, and because largely it's the boy child who finances most of these things across. And if it's not the older guys who ruin these young women for, you know, the right guy, or they just ruin them completely, it's just these young guys who they go through all this stress and hassle for the guys who are trying to impress these ladies. And then eventually they just end up lost completely. And at the end of the day, you realize that it is the men who are needed to like lead the nations, to lead, you know, to lead us into the next generation, you know, until kingdom come. They're the ones who are supposed to literally be that whole, your pillar of strength and vision and wisdom for people to, you know, for us to transit, you know, into that next generation by generation. So I think peer problem, we also have to look at the boy child peer. And I think I should have started with this by saying I am not against the boy child. I am very much, in fact, I am in full support of the boy child. Tungekuwa, if why not that maybe Cyprian and I maybe we might have, you know, different beliefs, but I would definitely be with him hand in hand in support of the boy child. Because you look at it now, where we are at right now, outside of just this whole pandemic, the other pandemic we have is the boy child, you know, just completely being, because you find apparently suicide, 51% of all suicide are male suicides. And most of these guys are, you know, in their early 20s, between I think 18 and 20 something. And you find eventually it is the boy child mwenye ataumia when he's 28, 29. You're expected now to be starting a family, but you still have no grasp on life. You have no traction. So you're just left there in that whole void of life. You mentally check out. Next thing is, you know, your whole life takes a downturn. So I feel like for the boy child who might be listening to this, who will be listening to this later on, the goal is, you know, don't be sidetracked by the fast life. I mean, it's good that you actually would want to be able to you know, to create such a life and to give such a life to so many, you know, to the person you admire and everything. But you need to understand that, you know, everything, like you know, just like as it says in the Bible, and even literally in life, everything takes time. Just because a woman, you know, it takes 9 months for a lady to have kids, doesn't mean you can get you can get, you know, you can shorten that time by getting 9 months pregnant, like by getting 9 ladies pregnant. You can't give birth to a child in 1 month by getting 9 women pregnant. Things take time. So outside of all that, I would tell them, especially these foundational years. Most people think, you know, once you check out of campus, that's it. Ushakwa, you know, you're ready to take on the world. But trust me, there's still so much you still have to figure out about life and yourself as well. Because most people, they just walk about life, you know, just going through the whole mundane activities day in, day out. Day in, day out. You wake up, you've come on a job, you go to work, come back, and that's it. But in reality, there's still so many things. And even just as the Bible says, my people die for lack of knowledge. One, you're not self-aware, you're not really investing in yourself. So these years when, you know, you're as young, you're young, you're growing, and you're energetic, these are your strongest years, these are your most mentally, you're the most, you know, you have the most vigor right now. Take this time to figure yourself out. Find out what you want to do in life, create that vision, create a plan for your life, because a man without a plan is dead. Figure out what you want, and trust me, I like what Miles Monroe says. The right woman is found when the man is already on the path to his purpose. That's the best time. That's the only time you'll find, you know, that's the time you'll find, you know, the right woman. Because once you are in tune with your own purpose and where you want your life to go, then God will automatically put that companion, that helper in place to help you get there. And it's bad that we have slave queens and you make the wrong decision and you marry the wrong wife. But what's even worse is you losing yourself, not knowing who you are, and not taking the time to establish yourself to become, you know, the full potential of man that you are supposed to be or that you can be. So most people think easy 20 to 30 ndio time ya kuenda turn up from Nakuru every weekend, uko Nakuru, mara uko Mombasa, road trips and blah, 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 blah. But in reality, business-wise, we say these are the years where the losers get left behind. Because especially now in this day and age we're in, this is the time where you have no risk. Hauna familia ya kulipia sijui, hauna watoto wa kulipia fees, hauna familia ati ya you know, you don't have expenses to take care of every single month. You don't have people looking up to you. You don't have any dependents under your care. So this is the time for you to really invest into yourself, figure out what you want, and whatever that is, if it's business, if it's a cause, if it's an NGO you want to start, go head fast into that and ask God for guidance. Because trust me, when you're in your early 30s, you will thank yourself for having invested these years into becoming the man of value, and a high value man, and a man of caliber and substance that, you know, you are meant to become. And trust me, whether you like it or not, at some point, yes, the slay queens wataanza kukufuata, because you've proved your of value to the marketplace, quote unquote. That's a business term, but you've proved your value to the marketplace, to the world in general, that you have something to offer. And at that time, chances are you will be spoiled for choice. But again, remain grounded. Ask God to show you. If He hasn't showed up by then, ask God to show you. But that's pretty much it. Invest these years into yourself and grow, become the man that you were meant to be. And that's it. That's all I had to say. Thank you, Faith, for having me.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited, and I don't know. I really appreciate Steve and Eli for coming through for this conversation. I wish I would have had women in the conversation, but I knew there'll be so much of defending ourselves. But I feel like it should be more of us getting to hear from the men, because I think there are a lot of stuff, like we were discussing last time with Steve, there are a lot of stuff us women are doing wrong that we don't want to hear. So you see, when we hear it, like through the conversation you two have had, it really makes so much sense. And the main aim for me doing the Look Beyond segment on the vlogs is purely for us to talk about things that people don't want to talk about, because we want a better society. We want a society where Pastor Steve can gladly tell us this is wrong and we listen. We want a society where Eli and in his leadership can ask about integrity and just be real and need people to be factual, and they're just like, yo, it's possible and it's doable. So thank you so much. I feel blessed to have such amazing friends. Yeah, and you've really come through in a great and mighty way. We might shoot something else probably next week, but that would be one-on-one. So nitawatafuta George hata kama uko ushago. Yeah, excuse ya niko ocha, nitakama. Yeah, but thank you so much. Thank you, Steve, so much. Please pass your love to your wife. Mwambie she's really has an amazing husband and she's blessed. I think in my journey towards being a real queen, I think I have a lot of notes to take from her. So thank you. And for everyone watching out there, kindly, if you feel like this has really inspired you, share with your friends, comment. You have any questions, we can always have another segment with Eli and Steve. So be blessed, enjoy your evening, and maze, God our bless. And thank you, Joy Amina. She's our host. She's such an amazing being, but she was hiding. She's somewhere here.
Joy, God bless
you very much.
Yeah, thank you so much. Have a good night.
All right, blessings.
Okay, bye.
Thanks. It was a pleasure.
Pleasure is all mine.
Awesome.
Okay.